And we're back.
We're back, everybody. Welcome back to the only podcast on the internet that knows that it was Brexit all along.
Yes, it's Brexit all along. It's been here the whole time.
I know. It's always in the last place you look, Chris.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And anyway, I'm Dr. Silverstein.
I'm Dr. Armshaw.
And we are doctors.
Not doctors.
And this week we have a couple of interesting things to talk about.
Yeah.
And as always, we are, keep our ear to the ground, keep our face in the internet.
Exactly.
And, a lot of things have been going on in the UK and the US. But let's start with the UK. Let's specifically start with the nation of Wales.
Oh, yes. They are a constituent element of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Wales is on the Great Britain part, for those of you keeping track at home.
Yeah, for those of you, yes, I guess we need to clarify that Great Britain is the island.
Exactly.
And Northern Ireland and Ireland itself, it's its own thing. That's why it's Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Yeah, anyway, that's a bit of nerd talk.
You know what I really do like about that, Chris, though?
What?
Is that it's Ireland and not Little Britain.
Yeah, it's not Little Britain, but
right.
Back in the day, all of the UK, all of Great Britain used to be called England.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because everybody aspired to be like them, apparently.
And then Brexit happened.
So which we will get into in a second.
But getting back to Wales.
Now, for those of our listeners who are not from the UK, Wales is in the west part of the island of Great Britain. It used to be an independent country in the 1200s, and it was annexed by England. And they, in 1999, along with Scotland and Northern Ireland, got a devolved legislature. So think of them as a very weak state government, not like what you would see in America, not a state capital.
Right.
They have a restriction of what they can do, and they have some powers over, managing their particular nations. So there was the legislature in Wales is called the Senedd, or the Welsh Parliament, whichever one you want to call it. And they have I need to look this up. They have the number of seats in that parliament are 60 people.
Okay.
60 seats.
Wait, hang on. Correct me if I'm wrong. Math is not my strongest suit, but 60 is an even number, Chris.
60 is an even number. You're right.
So, you could have an absolute split there. You could have an even split. That's not surprising. In the United States Senate, there's 100 senators, so you could have a split. But there, they do have a tie-breaking ability, right, where the vice president breaks the tie.
It's not a real Senate. The Senate.
So, I get it. I'm just saying.
About the Senate.
The Senate in America. Senate.
Yeah.
In America. Yeah. If there's a tie there, then the vice president breaks the tie. What do they do in the Senate?
Well, the Senate will have a speaker as well. So, it's even if it's 60 seats, one of those seats will be the Senate, will be the speaker. So it'll be uneven by that point, because the UK Parliament has 650 seats.
That's right.
Which isn't an even number. Wait, it is an even number. Sorry.
But there is the Speaker of the House.
But the Speaker
doesn't normally vote on things. Do I have that right? Or
the Speaker doesn't normally vote, and if the Speaker does vote, he's expected to vote with the status quo or the government.
Right. Okay.
He's not expected to break the system. So we'll get back to Wales now.
Sorry, I've knocked you entirely off course.
Yeah, you've knocked me totally off course. So a member of the Senate named Heffen David, he died in August of this year.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. And he was a Labour member. And so that triggered a by-election in his constituency of Caerphilly. It's Welsh. Don't
better pronounce it carefully. Hey-yo.
Oh, my God.
Yep, you're only getting this kind of high-level humor here, kids.
Only on Doctors Not Doctors. And so the election had to be had. And this is what's really important, Patrick, about Wales. Labour owns Wales.
Oh. That's a hell of a thing.
Wales. They have been in charge of Wales, and they've had the most amount of seats in Wales for probably a century across that country. They've been in charge of the Senedd since its inception in 1999.
Right.
They've never not been the majority party.
Wow.
Think about that for a second. Since 1999.
Now, just to clarify, this isn't like a situation where there's only the two parties, right? And so one of them is going to always have a majority. And it just so happens that this is like a labor jurisdiction in a sense.
No. There's many different parties. There's Labour, there's Plaid Cymru, the Party of Wales, there's a Welsh Independence Party, like the SNP, who I work for. They want Wales to be an independent state. There's the Conservative Party, the Lib Dems. There's everybody there.
Wow.
Everybody stands there.
Wow.
And including Reform. Now, as its own thing. So, which is interesting because, I mean, ever since I've been involved in politics over here, Wales and Labour were, they're deeply entrenched, and it's very difficult to remove those deep ties from the people to the party.
Right.
So, what do you think is going to happen when this by-election is called? The person who the party that the by-election is for Labour.
Right.
So
this is presumably a Labour seat, right?
It's a Labour seat. There's a Labour government in Westminster. There's a Labour government in Cardiff. This should be theoretically a walk in the park.
Right.
It's 2025, Patrick. It's 2025. So things have changed massively.
Okay.
And instead of us having this walk in the park for Labour, what we do have is a huge challenge for them.
Oh, yeah? Really?
A huge challenge in the name of reform.
Ah, yes. There we go.
We've talked about reform a lot in this pod. And they're placing in the polls here in between like 27 and 32%.
Right. And for those of you who are wondering about whether or not that's important or not, what was the percentage of the vote that Labour got in forming its massive current parliamentary majority, Chris?
Something like 33.4.
Right, exactly. So if everyone else is split, in a real sense, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Yeah. And such is the case of Labour in the most recent parliamentary election.
Yeah. So the Reform Party is theoretically running high in the polls, although in theory a majority of people are against them.
Right.
They're just split across enough parties where it doesn't matter. In UK parliamentary terms, in other countries it would matter. And I'm going to have to change that because there's another party in Wales. We talked about them before, Plaid Cymru, the Party of Wales.
Yeah.
And so they were also contesting this election. And, one of my friends was running it. She's the deputy leader of Plaid Cymru now. Ah. She used to work in Westminster back in the day when I started. Right. Now she's a member of the Senate. Okay. And so, it was a very tight game. And it was assumed that Reform was going to win this thing. Right. Okay. Yeah, they assumed wrong.
Did they?
Yeah. Now, remember what I said. Reform got about, across the UK, about 30-something% of the vote. But in this particular constituency, in this particular by-election, they got 36% of the vote.
Huh. Okay. And what was so who ended up winning the seat?
Well, not them, because Plaid Cymru, the Party of Wales, got 47% of the vote.
Oh, dude.
47% of the vote.
47% of the vote. Yeah. When you've got, and how many parties are really contesting the seat at this point? Basically?
Oh, there was like 10. There was a bunch of parties. Hang on. See, okay, we had Plaid, Reform, Labour, the Tories, Conservatives, the Green Party, the Libs, Liberal Democrats. I cannot pronounce this one. GWLAD.
Oh, Glad.
Yeah.
Which, if I understand my Welsh correctly, which I don't, that means country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then there's UKIP, which apparently still exists.
Wait, really? I'd say that's adorable, but no, UKIP was never adorable. No. They were always awful. And they looked bad in purple.
Yeah. And 50% turnout as well for a by-election.
For a by-election. That's really interesting. I would have thought, actually, that this would be a situation where it was a low turnout election leading to, a more motivated voting base turning out disproportionately, right? But yeah, 50% turnout for a by-election, a 47% win for Plaid Cymru. That's how did Labour do? What percent of the vote did they get?
Good question. We should focus on that for just a second. Labour got 11%. That's 10 plus 1, 11% of the vote.
Oh no. That is not what you want to see if you're Labour, is it?
No, and it seems that the Labour vote might have drifted towards Reform. I don't know where the Tory vote went, but they only got 2% of the vote.
Okay, I'm going to guess a big chunk of that went to Reform then.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so now that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
So one of the theories you should have if you're in a situation where you've got a strong populist challenging party, right, that a majority of people do not want. and sort of see as like a real threat. You would expect to see real balancing behavior, Chris. So perhaps one explanation here is that given the choice between, okay, we either split entirely and then potentially Reform takes the seat, or we end up voting for whichever of the non-Reform parties is likely to win.
Yeah.
So you see sort of strategic voting in that sense.
Yeah.
And there are those who argue that that is what happened in the 2024 parliamentary election, right?
With whom? The Tories or?
No. With basically with the anti-conservative vote.
Right.
Basically,
yes.
everyone's saying
non-conservative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whichever party, Lib Dem, Labour, SNP, whatever, whoever it is that's going to prevent the Tories from taking the seat, they're who I'm going to vote for, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it may be that Plaid Cymru becoming the sort of like the consensus choice of the anti-reform vote, if that's what's happening, this might be a real indication of like a sea change then, because you'd think that it would be Labour that would be the clear winner of the who's the anti-reform vote. And if instead a critical mass, and it appears to be a critical mass in this jurisdiction anyway, that's gone for Plaid Cymru, that could be a real indication of real trouble for Labour, I would think.
I don't think it's an anti-reform vote, because what I've been hearing, and it's kind of across the Western world, right? Mm-hmm. It's this huge problem that people just want a positive change for themselves. They want to see something tangible that benefits their lives. And I think Plaid had the better argument there. Okay. Labour cannot make that argument because they're screwing you, they with all of their policies that they come forward with in their first year alone. And Reform, they don't have an answer to make your life better. They just have this is the cause of your problem, and it's Johnny Foreigner, right? And if you and as we see in New York with Mamdani, if somebody offers you an actual answer as opposed to an excuse, people seem to be drifting towards the idea of just give me something that's real as opposed to something that I'm angry about, because fine, I'll vote for you, maybe I'll give you a shot, but if you are actually saying, like, here's how I'm going to make your life better. Yeah. Not just, let's beat up some foreigners.
Right. And not just, no, everything is fine. We'll make things incrementally better eventually. Don't worry about it.
Or not even incrementally better. It's just, it's almost like trust the plan. And you're going to be screwed for the next 4 years. We want you to vote for us. We're going to tell you we need 4 more years to sort it out. That's not going to work. But yet somehow, Plaid to pull it off, and I was happy to see the pictures this morning of my friend and the leader of Plaid, and the new MP. I'm sorry, they call him MS, member of the Senate, Lindsay Whittle, who has apparently stood 14 times. He has stood 14 times to try to win a seat like this, and he finally won it.
That is, you know what? I feel like that is the plot of a children's bedtime story,
try again.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's the kind of stick-to-itiveness you really want to train your little ones on.
It's the little engine that could.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's a very interesting result. Who knows if it's replicable, but, and I don't know much about the seat itself, but given where Reform is in the polls, and again, this is Wales, it's not England. So,
that's true.
England's going to be completely different. Reform may have been able to take the seat because there's no, I was going to say there's no alternative party in England. However, have you heard of Zach Polanski?
Yeah. Now, if I understand, he's the man who is now in charge of the Green Party. Yes,
he is in charge of the Green Party,
and he seems to be. He seems to be doing pretty well there for himself as far as like getting some heat and getting people to take the Green Party, I think, a lot more seriously than they have done.
He is, as they say, setting the heather alight. He is really becoming the left-wing voice in England.
Wow.
And he's definitely taken the space of what Labour should have had. And what your party, remember then, what they were trying to accomplish.
Right.
And this is a huge issue because, when he came up, I was like, okay, Zach, yeah, sure. Let's give him some time. Let's see how it works out for him. But he's not afraid to say stuff. Like he was asked by, I think, Piers Morgan, can a woman have a penis? And to which he said, yes, until she gets her surgery on the NHS, which takes too long. I'm like, wow.
Okay, all right.
What an answer.
All right.
What an answer.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, okay, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of when Bernie Sanders was asked, are you a socialist? He said, yes, of course I am. And then, started talking about, and here's what democratic socialism means.
Yeah.
So it's like, the thing is, if someone attacks you by calling you a thing, right?
Yeah.
Then you can either be defensive about it and say, no, I'm not. And then it becomes an issue of, well, who do you believe, the person who's calling you a thing or you who's like defending yourself? Or you can basically say, oh, yeah, it is. And here's what that means. Then in a certain way, that attack loses just a huge amount of its bite, because all of a sudden you're not looking weak, you are looking strong. And a whole lot, I think, of politics at this stage, at the very least, comes down to a deep distrust on the part of a lot of the electorate towards people that they perceive as inauthentic, people that they perceive as like sort of, saying whatever it is to get elected, people who are unwilling to stand by a position. Because it reeks of weakness. It
reeks of weakness, reeks of substance, reeks of the same old. And he's definitely has a new story, and it's definitely working. The Green Party's at something like 15% in the polls, which is huge.
That is huge for the Green Party.
It's huge for the Green Party, and I saw just kind of a brief glimpse of it, and I haven't been able to find it since. Like this. What that means for constituencies in London. And I mean, if I was Labour, I would be bricking it, because London, if I can remember, maybe I can find some free constituency map of London and put it up right now in the thing. That's a big test of my editing skills, but what the hell, why not? And you put it, if you look at London, and it's like on the outskirts of London, because London is huge, right? It's like the 32 boroughs.
It's a
sorry, not boroughs. 32 council areas, right? 32 council areas, and it's normally on the outskirts of those council areas. It's usually, a conservative, and in the middle it's red, and you have a little bit of Lib Dem orange here, and then on the other side, like east and west, and it has like a little bit of conservative. And then in the last election, it's similar to that, but there's now reform. No, not reform. There's no. I don't know if there's any reform MPs from London. I'd have to check. But there's still blue in London. But then I saw this projection, and like the middle of London just was green.
Oh, wow.
Like there are 72 seats in London, I think. And I'd say probably a good 10 or 11 were going green in that projection, which is mind blowing, because the Greens have 4 seats now. I know where one is. I don't know where they all are. I think one's in Bristol. I think one's in Brighton.
Oh, Brighton, absolutely.
And I don't know where the other 2 are, because Brighton was the one that in 2010 got a Green MP for the first time, Caroline Lucas.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, like we have to keep our eye on what's happening here, because if we have the emergence of a serious left-wing party, one that it's it's going to be hard to try to find the scandal with him as well, because he kind of steers into it and says, I can say what I want because this is who I am, right? And so you like have a go at me, but remember, you take me as I am, so you can't use the general attack lines. It's not like Jeremy Corbyn, who has at the time, 30, 40 years of...
That's true.
Of very interesting and bad arguments and bad, connections. And Hamas aren't that bad.
I swear to God. Seriously. I mean, I think Jeremy Corbyn just was one of those people who never updated his priors after the fall of the Berlin Wall. And I feel like if you went back to, the 1950s, you'd have a similar kind of situation with people who had been, super into, we're going to have radical communism. It's going to be great. And this is the way forward. And then, who's the Stalin guy? Look at what happened to Hungary. That's the thing. Because at that point, a whole lot of people on the left realized, the Soviet Union is a horror show. That's really bad. We don't want that. That is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then you had the people who didn't update their priors who were just like, no, this is all CIA nonsense. This is lies. Obviously, everyone in Hungary loves Stalin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Punch was served.
And we call those people tankies.
Tankies?
Tankies. And we do not respect them, Chris.
Why is that?
Oh, because...
I don't know, man.
Okay. Oh, dude. Okay, yeah. So this is some left-wing lore for y'all. Yeah, exactly. So basically, the branch of the international left that didn't break with Stalin after the Hungarian Revolution in 1956, right? So, obviously. Yeah, the Hungarians, they rise up. It's a very, very big deal. They're demanding like democracy. They're demanding like freedom. They're not demanding like a return of fascism or anything like that. But the Soviet Union freaks the fuck out and they send in the tanks.
Oh, I see.
And they crush the hell out of it, and it goes poorly. So, yeah, the tankies are the people who are like, well, no, Stalin was right to send in the tanks.
Oh,
of course.
Oh,
right.
Oh, they're like Oh, they're like the people we'll talk about later with Trump's house, with Trump's destruction of the White House.
Oh, they sure are. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We can get back to that. Remind me.
All right.
I'll make a note. Tankies next to that.
Not to be confused with British soldiers who serve in a tank force, basically.
Yeah.
They're also called tankies. Very different tankies.
Very different kind of thing.
Exactly.
All right. So let's move on to the next subject here in the UK. Now, this is quite interesting because we're just going to kind of wing it here because the something's happened across one of the mainstream parties, one of the big parties that hasn't happened ever since 2016.
Really? What's this?
The Labour Party has blamed in some way the economic situation in the United Kingdom on Brexit.
What?
I know.
Chris, that can't be right. I thought Brexit was a triumph of democracy. And clearly, we had all agreed that the best possible thing for the country was to shoot off our own foot and bleed out all over the sofa. I thought that was that not what we agreed in 2016?
And then we agreed not to talk about it anymore in 2021 because it had happened and it was fine.
Right, exactly.
And punch was
so
served.
yeah, stop talking about the staying on the sofa.
So Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, who's got a budget coming up next month on the 26th. In that budget, basically the background to this is that budget is going to be quote unquote horrific.
Yeah.
Because last year, I guess when they came in last year, Biden was still in office, right?
Yeah.
Biden was still in office, and there was kind of stability in the markets, and Labor was like, okay, this is how the world's going to look, for the next year or two, so we can make some financial plans based on that. And even with that information, they still were like, let's, screw over the poor and sick.
Fun.
And then Trump comes in. He's like, I have a flamethrower and I have the world's economy. And I'm gonna use my flamethrower on that economy because I'm awesome. And so he starts torching like all these ideas and agreements, tariffs specifically, and starts messing with other countries' economies. And so the space, like this is what they call fiscal headroom, the space they have without, going into hyper debt. The Labour Party, Labour government, basically, that all evaporated. And so all these ideas they had, and they started losing ideas and cutting things out over the past year. So they have to find a way to make more money.
Right.
Which is the problem. And so
I think the plan was they were just going to the economy was going to grow faster somehow, in some way. And with higher GDP, you would have more money coming in, even without raising tax rates. And then they have more money to be able to spend on things. And then you'd have money for investment, which could help the economy grow, which then a virtuous cycle. It'd be great.
That'd be great.
Totally great.
If it worked.
Nope, didn't work.
Didn't work
at all. Turns out Trump is not interested in growing any economy at all.
No, not at all. Why would he? Because, he's got other stuff on his mind right now.
Well, that's the thing. Is the British economy paying him any money, Chris? Because,
no.
Well, there you go.
Well, and I think the UK has a trade surplus with the US.
Oh, yes. We still got hit with tariffs, though.
10%.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think even worse for cars or whatever. Anyway, so the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, was at this apparently at an international committee. Sorry, she's at the IMF. The easiest way to put it. She was at the IMF. and basically she said, we were about 4% short on what we should have in the country because of Brexit, because of the Brexit deal in 2020.
Yep.
So, and that's clearly, people are saying that that's two reasons for that. One, that, she needs to have an excuse for what she's about to do to us, which potentially might be raising income tax again.
Yep.
Which is a big hit.
Going to be a giant bowl of suck, basically.
Yeah, which is that's going to not be fun to raise income tax because, again, you're taxing the poorest people first when they have the least amount of stuff to give.
I mean, okay, so income tax is something that is placed on income, right? And presumably under a progressive taxation situation, the more money you make, the more you pay in tax proportionally. So raising income taxes should be less regressive than, say, increasing value-added tax, which is a tax that you pay on. Basically, it's like a sales tax, but it applies to, I think it's levied on the basis
almost
of
everything.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Except for like food. Like VAT is the UK and kind of European equivalent of sales tax, but it is universal. And also, it's like sometimes it is. I'm thinking about field duty and things like that, which are applied to the a producer, and then they pass it on to you.
Right.
And I think VAT might be the same way. That's why things don't have the added cost. When something is £4 here, it's just £4 because the seller isn't charging you like, London VAT. He's just charging, or they're just charging you VAT that's already built into the price of the product.
Exactly, which means that you, as the consumer, don't have to do math in the store. Which is pretty nice, actually.
Yeah,
like I'll take that system. It's better
it's nice. It's nice. It's also 20%. So, but
okay. But I'll pay a lot to not have to do extra math in life.
Clearly, you will pay a lot extra math in life. But the point being is that the second thing is that people are saying is that Reeves clearly wants to create, and Labour wants to create a space where they can now start blaming Nigel Farage, because they know that the real threat politically for them and for all of us really is reform. Yeah. Because they have the easy answer. What's the problem? The problem is foreigners. What they do to you, I don't know. It's just them. How are you going to make more money? Foreigners.
Exactly. If we got rid of the foreigners, you'd have a fancy job.
You'd have a hotter wife.
Exactly. You would have no waiting times at the NHS.
You'd eat better dinner.
Exactly. You'd have a personal doctor.
You'd have a personal doctor living in home with you, and your house would get bigger.
Exactly. Also, your penis would grow 3 inches.
At least. Minimum.
In girth.
Oh, here we go.
Yep. All right.
So that is interesting that, that Labour is starting to set the stage for, a little bit saying, oh, you know what, Brexit, not such a great thing. And I think it's okay to say it because for the past, since 2016, so nearly 10 years, after the vote, I don't know if you ever caught this, but I did. There's some people were like, there was a choice that the people made, therefore it is infallible.
Yep. The people have decided.
The people have congratulations. First off, the process for decision making was wild and bad. For example, there are other countries where when you take referendums, they go through a much more complicated process to make sure that it is the answer that you actually want. For Brexit, it was like it wasn't even that all of the UK had to agree to it. It was just a majority of the vote. Right.
Just a majority of the people who showed up to vote.
Exactly.
Which is potentially problematic if only half the country shows up to vote and it's a bare majority on one side or the other. Then that might indicate that, you don't actually have the kind of consensus you would need for a radical change to the very structure of society. I honestly, I do feel like that was one of the reasons why the Brexit campaign and the Brexit vote were so incredibly damaging to British society, because it was this incredibly important decision being made on a relatively slim basis of who is really exercised about the issue, So it's a hell of a thing to do basically without making sure that you've got a strong consensus behind, this is the thing we're going to do. This is what we want. We will stand by this decision, hell or high water, whether it benefits us or hurts us. We've made this decision together. And instead it was, who is it who managed to show up on a Tuesday and a slight majority there? So yes, hooray. Yeah, so I mean, this is not in any way to say that people who were really activated by it didn't mean it. I do think that a big chunk of British society had decided that the European Union was a problem and needed to go. I disagree with them, but they absolutely come by that opinion honestly, and I won't say otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, first off, 72% of people, there's a 72% voter turnout.
Oh, 72%.
72%.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, that's pretty good.
It's not like there was nobody. It was a very slim vote. And the other problem with it, from my both American and working for the S&P perspective was that a majority of the people in the UK live in England. So when you make it population based, then it becomes an English vote with sprinklings of Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland in there.
That's true.
And like in America, for example, if you wanted to pass an amendment to a constitution, which is kind of the same thing with Brexit.
I mean, yeah, right.
It was ingrained in like how the country works and, you know, being able to live and work. And
something really foundational to the rights that people have.
Yeah, it's foundational to people's rights. So like, and I know Patrick has issues with this, but you know, when you want to get an amendment passed, it's not just a majority of the country having to vote for it. It's states have to agree.
Right.
It's
you
not
need 3/4 of the states to sign on, basically.
Yeah. So it's not like I have to get of the 300 million people in America, 151 million or 252 million.
Right.
You have to get Montana and California and Arizona all to agree.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard to get these things passed. And in the UK, Scotland and Northern Ireland did not vote for it.
Yeah.
They voted no.
They sure did.
And yet, because in Scotland there's only, you know, I think 3 million voters, and in Northern Ireland there's way fewer, I think maybe a million, maybe less than a million. Those votes were basically completely washed out by the English vote and the Welsh votes.
That's true.
So again, the decision is not infallible. No decision is infallible.
Right.
It's not above, you know, reproach and above, you know, comment.
That's like, it's one thing to say the people have spoken and so the will has to be done. It's another thing to say the people have spoken and we must never question that again.
And that's what it's been up until literally like this week.
Yeah. And I think this is, I think, a real key to understanding just what the hell has happened to the Labour Party and to British politics, I think, ever since the Brexit vote, because everyone sort of in power in the parties had to agree, apparently, that the Brexit vote could never, ever, ever be talked about, that we couldn't even talk about Brexit. It's just done. Shut up, stop talking about it. So that all of the effects of the Brexit vote, all the effects of leaving the European Union, the economic slowdown, the standard of living crisis,
the loss of people,
you know, like the hammer blow to the NHS as you have fewer doctors and nurses, you know, like all of these things, right? We could not talk about them. We could not say what it was doing. We could not even begin to diagnose the problem. And so no party was in a position to actually start proposing solutions.
Well, not no party. I mean, the S&P, not just to plug that, but we have been talking about how Brexit has been shitty since Brexit.
That is a good point. It's one of the virtues of being in Scotland, where Scotland voted, no, we don't want that, actually. That's a bad idea. What are you guys doing?
Yeah. But again, it's interesting to see where we go with this. I mean, we have another month until the budget, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's take a little break, and then we'll be right back with the second half.
Hooray! We could talk about America.
We'll be right back. And we're back.
We're back, everybody. Welcome back.
Okay, so last time we were talking about tankies.
We were mentioning them. So basically it's just sort of a nice slur to have for anyone who's so international left that they end up supporting fascist invasions of Ukraine.
Yeah.
You know?
Which leads us nicely into the United States of America.
Oh, God.
There's no way to start talking. Now, we've been kind of off for 2 weeks here, so we'll cover as much as we can without going so far over that, you know, you fall asleep. But we have to talk about this week, the destruction of the fucking White House.
Yeah, that's a hell of a thing. Chris. I never thought that I would see pictures of the White House in literal ruins. Holy shit.
But I have seen pictures of the White House, like parts of it, like kind of ripped up before in history.
All right.
And, you know, like the White House isn't permanent, but the reasoning for this. So for those of you who are unaware, for whatever reason, Donald Trump, president of the United States, has decided upon himself to put a ballroom onto the White House. Now, this is really important because no one asked for it, and he's been trying to get one done since the 90s. And this has been, for whatever reason, his grand obsession. And now that he's president, again, he's like, this is the only thing that matters to him.
Well, God, that's true. I mean, you remember like the day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, right?
Yeah.
They asked him how you were holding up after the violent murder of your dear friend, Charlie Kirk.
That's
and
right.
he was like, I think pretty well. Now, let me tell you about this ballroom I'm planning.
Yeah. It's going to be right over there. It's going to be great. Now, apparently, he initially said that the ballroom was not going to affect the White House.
Oh, yeah. No, it wouldn't touch it.
It wouldn't touch it.
Because he loves the White House, and it's really, very respectful. He's very respectable at it. So he was not going to touch, for example, Chris, the East Wing of the White House. He wouldn't touch it.
The East Wing was going to be left alone, and they're going to put this thing, which apparently is bigger than the White House itself.
Considerably, to the point where it dwarfs the entire rest of the structure. It is an abomination before the Lord, Chris. It's quite bad.
I mean, the plans, I recall him saying there's supposed to have enough space for 79 people, which doesn't sound big enough.
79 people?
Yeah.
No, it's supposed to be I thought it was supposed to be big enough to hold like an inauguration. If necessary. And so,
okay. That's why it didn't sound right to me, even though Trump had said it. Maybe.
Chris, you should know by now. You can't trust a word out of that madman's mouth.
I know. That's why I said it was such incredulity. He said 79. That doesn't make any sense at all. So
it's going to be huge. It's going to be big enough for at least 79 people.
79, not 80.
Yeah.
79 people.
Yeah.
The reason that we're talking about this is because the original White House was a mansion built by slaves. Let's not forget that.
Oh, yes.
In the 1700s. So George Washington was never in the White House. The first president in the White House was John Adams.
That's right.
And then over time...
Womp, womp.
Womp, womp. I think we could have a thing about Adams. I feel like he got a raw deal.
I mean, maybe a little bit, but I'm sorry. He passed the Alien Sedition Act, so...
He did pass the Alien Sedition Act.
He could fuck himself. That's all.
You got feelings on that.
I do. I got strong thoughts on John Adams and his, it was just political cack-handedness. As someone who saw a lot of value in the Federalists, that man destroyed that party so hard there was never another Federalist.
Yeah, but you know what? Thomas Jefferson didn't get his own rap musical about it, so
that's true. Well, that's the thing. It's because Hamilton was supposed to be the big Federalist, torchbearer, and that blew pretty badly up. So in a way that you could rap about in a musical.
In a way that you could rap about. So I think, so the wings of the White House are added to the White House, where you have the West Wing, which is the operational side, which has the Oval Office and all that stuff. And I think the East Wing, I don't know too much about it, but I think it's for visitors and nice stuff.
It's meant to be the sort of the hub for the social aspects. So it's understood to be the First Lady's domain, basically. It was really the project of Eleanor Roosevelt. Because she's the person who really sort of defined the modern idea of a First Lady as somebody who is not just sort of, a decorative appanage, if you will.
Ooh.
But thank you. But someone who, takes on social issues and whatnot and works to raise awareness of things and mobilize private charity, basically doing things Michelle Obama's let's get kids active and moving and eating things that are not literal sugar in crystal form.
Or Nancy Reagan's don't do drugs.
Right, exactly. And so, or Barbara Bush's did she do a thing?
She was in The Simpsons once, but not really her. Not really her.
Yeah.
The Simpsons had the pass, and they were.
I'm sure she did a thing. I'm sure she did it.
I'm sure she did. Every First Lady has because the First Lady has her own staff. She's got, FLOTUS says stuff.
Exactly.
So the East Wing is it's a big part of the building, and Trump's fuck that thing. I'm going to tear it to the ground and put up a shitty ballroom.
Now, Chris, when he did this, when he tore down the East Wing, when he tore down the historic part of the White House, when he did this, did he get any planning permits?
No.
Oh. Did he work with the conservationists of the White House to maintain any historic objects or anything like that?
I'm just checking my notes. It says no.
Oh dear. So he just literally Bob grabbed a backhoe and decided he was going to dig himself a septic tank. Yeehaw!
I think we need to be very clear about what's happened here. Trump doesn't own the White House. The president doesn't own the building.
That is
the U.S. government owns the building. So Trump,
the American people through the U.S. government owns that building.
So So what he's done is that he's taken, like, it's like a rental house, basically. It's like you go into your rental house and say, yeah, I'm going to be here for about 4 years or more. I don't know if I'm ever going to leave because fuck the Constitution. And you start just remodeling or tearing down bits of your rental home. And then when people say, hey, you can't do that, you say, well, you know what? A couple tenants back, he made a basketball court. So it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
It's the same thing, right? Exactly. When Obama, you see, took the tennis court and turned into a basketball court over the course of many, many months and coordinating with planning permission and
Congress.
Congress and, all the rest of it. When he did it in the way that is legal and allowable, that is exactly the same thing as Donald Trump taking millions of dollars from who the hell knows who, actually.
Oh, I mean,
And then just sort of, tearing down,
ripping up the White House.
A third or more of the White House.
Just ripping up the White House. And
I'll give him this. I'll give him this, Chris. That man has now officially succeeded where Al Qaeda failed. Because they couldn't get the plane to fly into the White House.
They couldn't do that.
Yeah, because the heroes on the flight who revolted.
He's done more damage to the White House than the British did.
Yeah.
In the War of 1812, he's done more damage to the White House than the Confederates ever could.
Yep.
And all because, and again, if he had gotten permission, that's fine. Like Obama, there were $386 million apparently of renovations that he had to do to the White House that were planned, that were arranged and approved by the people who actually managed the White House. Yeah. This is just a guy who's like, you know what? I've been wanting to build this, so I'm going to build it. And I've lied about how much it's going to hurt the White House.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? Tough. And it's what's getting me at the tankies in like the MAGA movement who are literally falling over themselves trying to justify this and saying, you guys need to calm down. This isn't that big of a deal. Obama did it, so it's okay. And then there's all week I've been seeing these pictures of like, here's other renovations. I'm like, this is not a renovation.
Yeah.
Let's say he wanted to rebuild the East Wing and make it like better or more modern or whatever.
That still wouldn't be a renovation. That would just be a really crazy thing to do.
Yeah.
That is deeply wasteful and absurd. This, on the other hand, this is way worse than that. Like, this is, we're going to tear down a historic part of the building and we're going to replace it with, apparently, have you seen the pictures of like the artist impression of what the inside of this monstrosity is going to look like?
I've only seen the outside pictures. Hang on. Let's pull up the inside pictures here.
All right. So there's a very instructive pair of pictures that's floating around on the internet these days. On the left-hand side, you see, is the artist impression of what the interior is meant to look like of this massive ballroom.
Oh, no. That can't be it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And on the right-hand side, you see, is a picture of the inside of the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg, the Tsarist Palace, you see, because Donald Trump, apparently, after having turned the Oval Office into a fucking, gaudy, chintzy bordello-looking room, has decided that what he really wants is a massive imperial coronation room. Like, this is like Hall of Mirrors at Versailles level shit. This is the kind of thing you do when you think you are a fucking god emperor. This is not a thing you do in a republic.
Yeah, we don't need... See, the thing is that we don't need this.
Yeah, no, we really don't.
Like, especially if you're talking about, like, a country that, capitalism is king.
Yep.
You would just have the ball somewhere else.
Yeah.
You don't need to have the ballroom at the White House.
Yeah.
You would have...
Hire a fucking venue.
Hire a venue.
Yeah.
Keep the money in the economy as opposed to building what can only be described as a Qatari's dream.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
It's like there's so much gold.
This is royalty shit.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing you do when you think you are a king.
Yeah. So we should talk about, while we're here, you mentioned the millions that it's going to cost to do this. And another thing that the tankies from the MAGAs are saying, it's not going to cost us a dime. It's not going to cost the American people 1 cent because he's paying for it himself. Not entirely true.
Yeah.
But he's paying for it himself and he's getting private donors to fill in the rest of the gap.
Because nothing says openness and transparency like taking money from secret billionaires in order to tear down public property and make it your own.
I mean, I think we need to unpack this for just a second.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know how much money he's theoretically contributing to this. I can't remember the amount, but then it's $230 million right now. I am sure that number is going to go up. I have never known almost any project that's supposed to be the number that it is now, and the number that it's going to end at.
Especially one that's thrown together at the last minute without any planning permissions and clearly no real thought about like how this is going to go.
Yeah.
That thing's going to collapse in on seriously, it's going to be like a Samson in the temple situation where some guy's going to get a little too drunk. He's going to lean against a pillar and he's going to take down the whole roof.
Exactly. So think about this. Like already Trump has been in the MAGA campaign. They've been extorting money out of all these different businesses, and they've been to put money into the presidential library. So now who's throwing money into the White House Ballroom? Because theoretically, if I'm a private donor and I put money into that thing, do I part own it?
I mean, from a legal standpoint, no, but because Donald Trump doesn't own it in the first place. But also, I mean, who the hell knows anymore? Because I don't think there's such a thing as law in America.
Well,
let me take that back. There's law for the little people, Chris.
Yeah.
There's just not law for, Donald Trump.
There's law for people trying to come into the country. Just saw something was passed to me today that a person from over here is trying to get a visa to go to the United States. I think from either Europe or the UK. And there's a little new piece of paper that's been sent to this person saying, "Oh, you need to give us all of your tags and your handles on social media and set all of them to public because we will be scanning those." And like, just a brief side note here. Like if somebody's got death to America in their freaking socials, yeah, sure. Okay. I understand that. But you know what they're looking for? They're looking for that JD Vance meme.
Oh yeah.
They're looking for that JD Vance meme. They're looking for anti-Trump stuff. They're looking for stuff that's against the regime, which gets us back to the ballroom.
Yeah.
So I don't know who those people are, but briefly, let's talk about as well. It's going to cost $230 million. Right?
Now, this is the third time you brought up that very particular figure, Chris, and I feel like you're leading somewhere with this.
$230 million.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know if you heard about this.
All right.
But Trump is now directing the Department of Justice to pay him back for all of the investigations into him for the amount of $230 million.
What a funny coincidence. My goodness, isn't it strange how the world works like that? Okay, so here's the thing, right? Pay him back for the investigations. That is not a thing. That is not a thing. That is not a tort that is cognizable. Like, okay, if he could show that there was some kind of improper, prosecution of him that caused him a particular amount of money in costs, right? That was like the result of somebody in power abusing their authority. And, there were laws against that kind of thing. And I mean, if there were evidence that had happened, I would say, good, go ahead and show the evidence and take it to a judge, do all that kind of thing. That's not what's happening here, is it?
No.
Because what's happening here is that Donald Trump has basically announced that he thinks that he is owed $230 million. And he's going to tell the Department of Justice to just pay him. Yeah. And that's American taxpayer money. That's $250 million almost of American taxpayer money. He is just going to arrogate to himself.
And apparently he can just do it. Apparently he can just order the Department of Justice to pay him.
I mean, he can also order the military to murder people. He can also, order, fucking pineapple pizza. Like, he can do a lot of things that are abominations, and clearly a terrible idea, right? It's just that under normal circumstances, these things would be against the law. Because under normal circumstances, there were things like laws in America. But again, because the Supreme Court has decided that there is no such thing as law and that the president is above the law, when he steals money, $250 million from the American people, he cannot be criminally charged for that. And so he can pardon anybody who breaks the law in order to give him that money. Yeah. Just as he can order anyone to commit murder in the Caribbean. And then theoretically pardon them for doing it.
Yeah, as long as he's president when they get accused or whatever.
No. He can do it. He can do a preemptive pardon. That is absolutely a thing they can do.
I forgot about the preemptive pardon. Oh yeah, obviously.
No, it is
speaking of pardons.
Oh, that's right. We're not even done, are we?
No, there's still more pardon stuff.
Oh, yep. Let's talk about him.
Well, you talk about him. You're the one who knows about it.
those of you who are into the crypto space, those of you who, spend a lot of time thinking about Bitcoin and all the rest of it, you may have heard about a little company by the name of Binance.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Binance, you see, is basically, it's kind of like a clearinghouse, effectively. It's like a trading platform for, for currencies, right? For cryptocurrencies in particular. Now, these companies are somewhat problematic. And in fact, Binance, despite being one of the big ones, ran into some real problems under the Biden administration. Specifically, Binance was accused of basically just really screwing around when it came to money laundering. In other words, not enforcing rules against it, not checking to make sure that it wasn't happening. And this involved money being used to purchase completely illegal things like, child pornography.
God.
Well, yeah, because this is what cryptocurrency is primarily used for.
Oh.
Like, there are people who speculate on it, right? But they're, the actual use of it, you don't use it to buy a Coke in a vending machine.
Yeah.
Because it would take 15 minutes for the transaction to go through.
Yeah.
And cost you a lot of money to do it because cryptocurrency is a terrible idea. Instead, what you use it for is any transaction that you cannot have the cops finding out about.
I remember back in the day when crypto first came on the scene, and, part of me kicks myself now that it's like, why didn't I put $10 into crypto in 2008? And I remember the one thing that was in my head the entire time is crypto is used by criminals.
It absolutely is.
I'm just like, so how, in order for me to get the crypto, I'd have to figure out how to give the money to someone that, as far as I can understand, probably a criminal.
Very possibly. Very possibly.
Like, obviously, I probably should have gotten that $10 in the crypto.
I mean, you would have had a lot of money in crypto
I'd
at this
be
point.
in a bigger house.
Like, seriously, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Shit.
Well.
Anyway.
2020 hindsight and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Binance was running into trouble, basically. It was accused of having completely failed to deal with money laundering issues, to deal with crypto being used to purchase extremely illegal things. So basically, Binance, the CEO of it, who goes by the name of Changpeng Zhao, he was put in jail for 4 months after being convicted, and the company was basically banned from doing business inside of the United States. Enter Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, because Donald Trump, you see, is big into crypto because the crypto people backed him in the 2024 election.
Yeah.
And you know how he, you remember the Silk Road? You remember the guy who was like the founder of the Silk Road? Yeah. Guy who used cryptocurrency to like pay for murder and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that guy, he got pardoned by Trump. And now Changpeng Zhao has also been pardoned by Trump. Right after Changpeng Zhao and Binance basically were part of a deal with Donald Trump's cryptocurrency that has yielded Donald Trump earning $1 billion.
His family's just made out gangbusters.
Yeah. So
this crypto stuff.
What appears to have happened is that Changpeng Zhao, who is the CEO of Binance, who is a criminal, was able to get basically just got himself his fancy little pardon by making Donald Trump very wealthy. This is corruption on a scale that has never been seen in the United States before. It's just Teapot Dome is nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing compared to this. So this is, again, one of the situations where, because the Supreme Court has ruled that the pardon power is completely unreviewable.
Yeah.
And because the president cannot ever be convicted of a crime as long as he does something that's theoretically within his power to do.
Official capacity.
In his official capacity. Therefore, Donald Trump has realized, and is realizing more and more as time goes by, that he is now above the law. And he is a criminal. He is a criminal. He's a felon. He's a rapist. These are legal facts.
Yeah.
Like, I am not worried about being sued for saying that, Chris.
It's because it's the truth.
Well, yeah.
And he tried to get it undone in New York, and they're like, this is a state case, not a federal case. So
exactly.
Until you can install a new governor in New York to give him a pardon in New York, he's screwed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, if you get a pardon, it doesn't mean you didn't do it.
It does. Exactly. He has to get the charges deleted as if it never happened.
And that's the thing. So it's just a flat out situation where Donald Trump has realized he can be as corrupt as he likes now. There is no longer any guardrails. There's just nothing. The only guardrail that is left at this point is the people. And the real question is what the American people are going to do about it.
Which brings us nicely to one of the last things we're going to talk about.
Ooh.
We weren't able to talk about it last week.
That's true. I was sick. I had a man flu. And it was I sounded very, very poorly. So
we gave it a pass. Gave ourselves time to rest up, and
now I sound great, obviously.
And now he sounds amazing.
Yeah, right.
So we're going to talk about a little bit the No Kings protest.
Yeah,
which were
I hear it was small, very demure, very because Donald Trump was saying, and of course his word is law.
It is
that almost no one was there, and also that they were all paid for by. Zionists and George Soros.
Geez.
And that's probably true. I mean, Donald Trump says that that's the case, right? So was it 15, 20 people?
15. It was millions.
Millions, you say?
I mean, well,
that's a lot more than 15 or 20 people, Chris.
And it was all across America, and obviously just more than the big cities. But the big cities had the biggest protests.
I mean, that would make sense.
Chicago, Boston, I think San Francisco.
I did hear that it was over 7.5 million people,
Portland. 2%
of the American population turned out on a single day to tell Donald Trump to go fuck himself. And that is...
this is what I was running through my head the entire time. So while that was happening, and I think the next day, so there's one person on my Facebook feed who is just hyper into the MAGA cult. He is... deep into it. And there's a lot of people on my feed who are deep into the MAGA cult. I went to university in Western Illinois.
Right.
So the people that I knew from back then, some of them are just, tankies to the extreme.
Oh, dear.
And so, I mean, every third post is trying to just downplay the number of people who were there, the importance of the event. And then there was this one post that was doing the rounds, which was... the No Kings protest actually brought in $700 million from Soros and all these people. None of it was true.
Of course not.
But it was what it showed me. Okay, so in politics, one of the best things to do if something is bad, you don't point at it and say, "Oh my God, that's horrible." You ignore it and let it pass without comment, because then it's just something that's happened. But as soon as you just point at it and start saying, "Oh my God, that's horrible. Don't look at it. This is the hate America protest," all that. You are just inflating. You're pouring more fuel on the fire. Mike Johnson. I mean, just sit there, Mike Johnson. What is his name? Mike Johnson has a title, and I can't remember right now. It's something like giant asshole. And
I mean, I think it's technically Speaker of the House, but
too.
Yeah, giant asshole works pretty well, I think.
Because there's this the clip now, I think, for the Daily Show where he's like, "Do you remember I never saw that. I don't know about that." Basically, Epstein, I don't know anything about that No Kings protest. It's the Hate America protests. No one's going. It's stupid. And then we're going to have a counter protest by Turning Point USA. It's one of those things you need to figure out, guys, that you should have just shut your mouth and say, get on with the business of, well, I guess you can't because you shut down the government in the third week of that now.
Yeah, that's still happening. That is still absolutely a thing. Yeah. And Adelita Grijalva has still not been sworn in.
No, I think she's suing now.
Yeah, no, she is, because, what the hell? You cannot just sort of decide, the people of Arizona in this congressional district, they just don't get a vote now. Because, that's what the hell. But that's the thing. I think there's a reason why they had to go on the offensive about this and activate what many people refer to as the Streisand effect, Chris. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, the Streisand effect refers to a really early case during the internet when basically Google Earth or Google, right? They were showing top-down images of the Earth, right? What later became Google Maps, right?
Yeah.
And one of the pictures, obviously, that they took involved California, specifically Barbra Streisand's house.
Yeah.
And so Barbra Streisand immediately sued and was like, "What the hell? You can't show pictures of my house. This is ridiculous." And then it became a court case, and the media started reporting it, and everyone realized, hey, we can take a look at Barbra Streisand's house. And then everyone started Googling Barbra Streisand's house just because they could.
Yeah.
It's the Streisand effect is when you, in denouncing a thing that is bad, draw everyone's attention to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think they were kind of stuck on that because 7 million people, 7 million
in one day,
in a single day, all committed to the same basic idea, not of like, here is a list of things that are, I think are really important. And also we're going to dedicate like 5 minutes of speech time to each and every one of them. But instead, just the flat out, no kings.
No kings.
This is bullshit. No kings.
No.
Yeah.
And like, again, what dictators need, they need popularity. They need they need a lot of people to be on their side.
And they need a lot more people to like keep their heads down.
Sit at home, do nothing, don't aspire, don't try hard.
Yep.
Because that's the realm of the loyal to the regime.
Exactly.
And yet, that I'll give you the ultimate example of how bad their comms are and how childish they are and how just incredibly dumb they are.
Oh, go on.
So instead of so we had those kind of coordinated anti-no kings things that were happening online, and then there was this video that was posted about Trump in a crown, flying in a jet, dropping shit on liberal commentators at the No Kings protest.
Right. So just to clarify, this was Donald Trump in a crown shitting on Americans.
Shitting on Americans.
Brilliant.
And here's the best part. It came from his freaking like Truth Social page.
Donald Trump,
he posted it,
letting everyone know, yes, I am a king, and also I shit on America. That's wow. Are we sure his account didn't get hacked by like Democrats? Are we sure that this isn't like? I mean, that's way too. That's way too clever for Democrats to do. Democrats don't do that kind of thing.
No, not the actual DNC. No, because the Trump people, for whatever, like they're meme boys. Like basically, I think we'll have to end on this idea for the next 10 minutes.
All right.
There was this great skit from SNL. Sabrina Carpenter was the host.
All right.
Who, again, I don't know that much about. I'm just saying.
She seems popular with the kids.
She is popular with the youths.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so she was playing like a 13-year-old boy, and there's like and it's called like the Snackies Boys or Snack Boys podcast. And there was all these 13-year-old boys kind of talking about like this nonsense, right? And I said to my partner, I said, man, this sounds like a regular like MAGA podcast. All these kids be MAGA. The next second, our next guest, President Donald J. Trump. And it's because like that is who he is. They're trying to appeal to. They're trying to appeal to these like young boys, like who are those 13-year-old boys are now 18, 19, 20, whatever years old, right? And then the equivalent of that, And so you have this ridiculous concept of the president of the United States posting an AI generated video of himself shitting on people, and the tankies are like, "Oh, this is brilliant! This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Makes so much. This is amazing." And I'm like, in what other context, in what other country would this be considered anything other than lock him up 25th Amendment today?
Yeah.
But this then you get bans. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, oh God. All right. So actually, speaking of Vance, and I did want to bring this up because there was attempted counter programming to the No Kings March, right?
Okay.
Because you see, the U.S. Marine Corps is celebrating an anniversary.
Okay.
Right. In November, they will have been around for a particular amount of time. I can't remember exactly how long it is. I should have looked this up.
1775 or 1776.
What, the Marines? What? No.
The Marines are
way
old,
later than that, right? The Marines? They're not older than the country.
The
can't be the U.S. Marines before the United States.
The Army and the Marines, I believe, are older than the United States.
What?
Because you needed the Army to fight the Revolutionary War. And I'm aware that it was different militias from different places, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, there was the Continental Army, right? And so, which would have been like, okay, so if the U.S. Army is like considering itself like the, continuation of the Continental Army, that makes sense.
1775.
1775. Hot damn. Okay. I stand corrected.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, the Marines are old, man.
Yeah, man. Okay. So that's like 250 years.
Yeah.
Well done, Marines. Well done indeed.
Oh, they're going to love that.
Yeah. Anyway, so now that I've established my bona fides with the segment of our audience who are in the Marines,
the Army is also from 1775. Just want to make sure that we understand that.
Oh, damn.
I actually have friends who are in the Army. So.
Yeah, all right. Well, I did not know these things.
I did not know that.
That is a really impressive Johnny Carson impression. And I don't know if any of our listeners were alive when Johnny Carson was a thing.
Hey, listen, I have it in my back pocket.
All right. Well, okay. Gen Z, it's a whole thing. Check it out. Google it. Anyway, so, because the Marines are having their 250th birthday, fucking hell.
Yep.
J.D. Vance decided that what he was going to do on the day of the No Kings protests was to have a live fire demonstration in California. Yeah. Where they were going to they were going to stage a mock landing, right?
Yeah.
And onto a beach in California. And also they were going to fire live munitions.
That's right.
Over a highway in California.
Yeah.
That people drive on
during the daytime.
During the daytime when people were driving on it.
Yeah.
So Gavin Newsom, who is the governor of California, because he is not a lunatic, said, right, well, we're closing the roadway, obviously, because you can't open fire on American citizens. What if something goes wrong and you kill a bunch of people? That's a bad idea.
Beta male, cuck.
Right, obviously, beta male,
stupid.
So,
I just want to blow shit up, man.
Exactly, right? So, so J.D. Vance is like, nothing's going to go wrong. Nothing could go wrong. This is just, liberal tears. Right? Okay, so then our little Eggman, he goes forward with his, demonstration, right?
Yeah.
But funnily enough, you see, something did go wrong, Chris.
No way.
Yeah, I know. So it turned out that when they started opening live fire, onto American soil, right, from the sea, so one of the shells apparently burst early.
Yeah.
Raining shrapnel down onto the freeway.
Yeah.
And hitting several vehicles, including a police motorcycle. And all of these vehicles were part of J.D. Vance's entourage.
Yeah, they're part of his security team.
Yeah.
So he basically almost killed his own people.
Yep.
For lulz.
And then they immediately had to stop firing because, well, for the obvious fucking reasons. So it's amazing.
The metal falling from the sky from the thing that you said was just going to be totally cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Because wasn't he in the press corps in the Marines?
Oh, yes, he was. Actually.
Yeah. Okay. So just put that out there.
Yeah. So he was not a combat Marine, to my knowledge. I don't think
he still served. So thank you for your service.
He still served. Thank you for your service. Kind of wish you were still in the press corps in the Marines.
Yeah.
Could be doing a lot less damage to everybody if you were there. Instead of forcing the Marines to, throw together a last minute naval invasion of California. So it's just a perfect example, I think, of their utter lack of respect for anything involved in the U.S. government, anything involved in U.S. society, their utter lack of respect for American life, for American citizens, for the U.S. Marine Corps in particular, and for the basics of planning.
The basics,
the absolute frickin'
and I'm sure there was some Marine Corps general or higher up saying, "Yeah, we can't do this." Mr. Vice President, with respect, what the fuck is this? Yeah. And J.D. Vance is like, guys, we got to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if we can't do it, then they're going to go to the protest instead, as opposed to watch me blow up shit over. What are you, woke? No, it was to keep people alive.
I'm going to tell Exeth on you.
Yeah, well, he's already done that. So, there's a lot more we could talk about, but we would be going on for another 25, 30, 40 days.
That's true. We got to give ourselves and yourselves a rest, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it's, there's still stuff like Caroline Leavitt being absolutely crazy in the White House.
Your mom.
There's your mom. There's the insurance lawyer who is now the other lawyer who was sharing who was basically tweeting with or texting with somebody.
Holy shit! Yeah, texted with her for a day, and then at the end of the day, it was like, by the way, this is all off the record.
Yeah, we'll have to put these in the shorts someday, and then obviously there's the Prince Andrew stuff here.
Yep.
Which you didn't cut.
That's true. That's true.
Because I haven't
so
read
much
Virginia Giuffre's book.
Yep.
And I think that I've seen some excerpts from that, so we probably want to I might actually pick up that book to read it.
I think that might be
before we talk about it. Yeah,
that's probably a good idea.
So yeah, we'll keep talking about this stuff, and hopefully you keep listening. But as always, I'm Dr. Silverstein.
I'm Dr. Armshaw,
and we are doctors,
not doctors.
Good night.